Hi everyone and welcome back to the My Cupcake Addiction Kitchen, where today we're going to be combining two of my favourite things, ice cream and cupcakes. We're going to be making these fully edible, even the cupcake case, layered Neapolitan ice cream cupcakes. They're absolutely delicious, they look gorgeous, and I can't wait to show you how they're made. Let's get started. To make your gorgeous ice cream cupcake desserts, I'm using some Dream Whip or canned cream, but you can also use fresh cream. And I've got some really good quality ice cream. I'm using strawberry for my Neapolitan effect. With your ice cream, if you use a really cheap ice cream, it's actually going to lose volume when you melt it down and then reset it, and it's going to reset really icy. So try and get the best possible strawberry ice cream that you can afford for these so that you regain that really nice creamy texture when your cupcakes are served. I've got a pastry brush and a sharp knife. Of course, a cupcake tray, and I've lined that. You'll need double the amount of cupcake liners for the amount of cupcakes that you want to make. I've got some sprinkles, some glazed cherries, and some melted pink chocolate. And I'm also going to use some melted dark chocolate and some melted white chocolate just so that I can make the bases of my cupcakes a couple of different colors. I've got some ice cream wafers and a couple of spoons and a chocolate cake mix. So any chocolate cake mix you like, you can even do a half batch here because we're only going to make really tiny, short little chocolate cupcakes. So essentially one chocolate cake mix is enough to do 24 of these ice cream cupcakes rather than the usual 12. To start off with, you want to make up your chocolate cake mix. I'm totally cheating and using a packet cake, but like I said, use your favorite recipe, but do make sure this is chocolate because that's going to add to the chocolate, strawberry and vanilla look of our finished cupcakes. Once that's all mixed up, you want to fill each of your cupcake cases about a quarter to a third of the way up. So really don't go any more than a third here. Once you've got your chocolate cake mix in all 12 of your cupcake liners, you want to pop them in the oven, but just bear in mind these are going to cook a lot faster than a full-size cupcake. So if your recipe says 12 to 14 minutes, put them in for about 6 or 7 and just keep on checking them. To make your edible cupcake cases now, I'm going to do 4 of these pink, 4 of them white and 4 of them brown. So I'm just spooning in about 2 teaspoons of that melted pink chocolate or candy melt. And then I'm going to use my pastry brush to drag that chocolate up the side edges all the way to the tops of those cupcake liners. These cupcake liners are not the cheapest of the cheap, so they are relatively thick, which gives you a little bit more support. You want to sit them back into the cupcake tray because that's actually going to help them to hold their shape. Pop those ones off into the fridge and we're going to do 2 coats here. So once your first lot has completely set, bring them back out of the fridge and we want to repeat that process. 2 thin coats is a lot better than 1 thick coat here. And when you do your second coat, just do them one at a time. So spoon in the chocolate, drag it up, spoon in the chocolate, drag it up, because they'll be cold and your chocolate's going to set a lot faster than that first coat that you put in. Once you've done all 12 of those, they can go back off into the fridge to completely set. And once they're set, which won't take long, you can bring them out and you just want to grab either a really sharp knife or just your fingernail underneath the edges. So you're just separating the edges of the cupcake case. I find it's easiest to kind of tear down and then just pull off the cupcake case. These held their shape beautifully for me and I didn't break any, but if you're a little bit clumsy or a little heavy-handed, maybe allow for a couple of casualties here. Alright, so your cupcakes should be out and you want to leave them on the bench to cool. While they're cooling, also take your ice cream out of the freezer so that it can start to thaw out a little bit. You want to just pull out your little discs of cupcake, they're kind of cute, and just push them into the bottom of each of your little cupcake cases. This is because it's not going to be an entirely ice cream, we kind of want cream, ice cream and cake all in the same little chocolate case, which makes it a whole dessert. Now I'm just taking my slightly thawed ice cream and it's not completely melted, you can see it's still got some little sort of chunks in there, and I'm scooping it into the cupcake cases. That chocolate's going to hold everything in place. Make sure that you smooth it out as much as you can on top so they're nice and neat, and then pop them back into the cupcake tray and back off into the freezer to completely set. They're actually going to take probably another 2 to 3 hours for that ice cream to completely set again. Once it's completely set and you'll see it's really nice and firm, we can get on to decorating. So I'm just using these natural ice cream wafers. You can also use graham crackers or something along those lines. And I just cut them in half and then in half again at an angle to make some little triangle shapes. I'm going to use this canned Dream Whipped cream just because I love the taste of it, but you can also use freshly whipped cream or you can use a frosting here. And I'm just piping on like a little kind of a cupcakey swirl on top. On go some sprinkles, and I know not everybody loves glazed cherries, so you can use some sort of a red candy on top here, but just bear in mind that if you are going to store these in the freezer, red candy will often lose its colour when it comes out to room temperature and the glazed cherries won't. In goes one of your little triangles and your ice cream cupcakes are ready to serve. I recommend storing them in the freezer until just before you're ready to serve them. And when they come out and you cut into them, you can see you've got the chocolate case, the layer of cake, that beautiful strawberry ice cream, cream on top, and sprinkles. They're a whole dessert. They're absolutely mouth-watering. If you love this tutorial, make sure you subscribe to My Cupcake Addiction for lots more from us. And as always, thanks very much for tuning in.